Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and I'm stealing Inman's cold open 1 month to the NFL draft. We're going to dive in deep today.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan with the Wide Left Substack, and we got to get this to 10,000.
What? Yeah, I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. What?
Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. 31 days, Sam, and 8 hours. But who's keeping track, really? Let's talk about it.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hasan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talk's Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This group does this every Monday and Thursday. We do it live about 11 a.m. Central Time. You can find our audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where Luke Braun produces great daily Vikings content. Check that out as well. Get us on the audio and get us on YouTube and see Arif Hasan ostensibly dump his face in a bucket of ice water. We're going to need clarity on what just happened.
None of you are online. This is so crazy to me. This guy's been going like
it's
bonkers.
been awesome. You should try it.
Yeah, no. This guy has been going bonkers viral for like past 3 days on Twitter. And I also posted a little bit of it on Blue Sky. And it's this awful, stupid, nonsense morning routine. And he dunks his face in ice water like 3 times over the course of his morning routine. Good Lord. Also, I think Charles is correct that everybody's placement is wrong.
So how was it? Have you been doing the morning routine, or was that the first time?
That was the first time. I don't see what the benefit, like, I assume there are health benefits to dunking your face in water, because certainly I don't like feel different for dunking my face.
It didn't like rejuvenate you, give you a little refresher right there, throwing cold water on your face in the morning? You didn't like that?
I mean, throwing my face in cold water I think is more accurate, but no. Why would it do that? I think I'm going to grab an energy drink, actually. That's going to help me a lot more than whatever the hell that was.
It felt like we were dunking our face in ice water every day during the Aaron Rodgers saga. That's kind of what that was like.
Great segue, dude.
Good segue.
And that's what Arif Hasan just did. Again, on today's show, the draft's a month away. We're going to dive in more deeply to the draft, and we're going to all unveil a prospect of the day. It's no longer just Inman's bit. We're all going to get in on the bit today with some draft crushes. I want us to rank the impact free agents the Vikings brought in, and they're also exploring Ryan Tannehill, who did not play last year, plus an insult to the Minnesota Vikings on FanDuel. Get into that as well. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Of course, Inman gets the first crack at the draft convo. It's 31 days away, 8 hours. Inman's counting. He's got it on like a timer on his watch. Where do you stand today on the Vikings draft strategy? Because I think they've given themselves a lot of freedom with all the moves they've made. I don't think they need to be pigeonholed. I think that trade back is great. Heck, trade up is great if the opportunity presents itself. Probably not, but I think that Kwesi can really have fun with this. Where do you stand with his optimal strategy?
You know, it's funny, going into free agency, you're looking ahead and you're like, man, they only got 4 picks right now. They have the least amount of picks of any team. I think tied with one other team. I can't remember who, but only 4 picks, and only one of them is in the top 90. This is an uphill battle to climb. But as you mentioned, Sam, like they did they went out and did basically the best thing they could have done. They addressed every huge portion of all their biggest needs, so you can go into the draft with that BPA mindset and just try to go get the best players at the best value possible. Now, obviously, there's still positions of depth you're always going to want more of, and for them, I think cornerback is probably at the top of that list. They haven't nailed a young cornerback early in the draft since Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes. I mean, that's even questionable, I guess. But they haven't had that Xavier Rhodes type of cornerstone at cornerback that can be a building block for them in a long time. But it's also a deep class of defensive tackles. You know, we've heard the running back class is very deep as well. Obviously the big emphasis for all 32 teams this offseason after watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl have been the trenches. So you can't have enough good defensive tackles as well. But for me, I'm still team Kenneth Grant or Tyler Booker at 24. I love both those guys. Booker, I didn't think would be there had you asked me before the combine. He still might not be, but his combine was pretty meh, so maybe that pushes him down right in their lap. Maybe they think they can even trade back at that point, but I just think he's a plug-and-play day one guard for the next 10 years. I think he's so solid. Boring position, I get it, not fun, not sexy, but clearly a dire position they've needed for a long time, and that would just complete the offensive line, at least on paper, for the next 3-4 years. Kenneth Grant, maybe a little bit more of a project compared to a Tyler Booker, but like a freak in every sense of the word, athletically, physically. You bring him in, you let him get to learn behind these three starters now with Hargrave and Jonathan Allen and Harrison Phillips. You give him maybe a year, kind of like a Dallas Turner a little bit, and then in year 2 and beyond, you put him in the middle of your defense, and I think he would be a cornerstone as well. But if those guys are gone, I'm always team trade back. In fact, even if those guys are there, I'm always team trade back. Stockpile as many picks as you can get. Try to get back closer to the original 7 picks. Get your lottery tickets and just go get your guys. Just start taking stabs on what you think is not only a great player, but a good value as well.
Let me sidetrack this with just a little bunny trail. So you mentioned you think cornerback, big need, guard, big need. Like I wrote down my top 5 needs.
Okay.
In my
I wouldn't
opinion.
say guard is a big need now, but definitely, again, if you think there's a guy like Tyler Booker there,
and he's a left
you
guard.
eventually want to upgrade on Blake Brandel. That's
what you have. Yeah, right now. So here are my needs and the current solutions at them.
Okay.
So cornerback, I think, is number 1 because your 2 and 3 are Isaiah Rodgers, who might be good, and Mekhi Blackmon, who we really don't know if he's good. Like we thought that Caleb Evans was good after 1 year. We thought Cam Dantzler could be good after 1 year, and those didn't pan out. We don't know if they have a third corner. So I think cornerback is your number 1. I think left guard, your current solution is Blake Brandel for the next 2 years. I think that's number 2. I think that safety's number 3. You've got Harry for a year, and then you got Theo Jackson. I'm not really counting Josh Metellus as a traditional safety. And after that, you get into tight end 2 and defensive tackle of the future, but you're kind of locked down there with 3 good starters for the next 2 years. Do you guys disagree with that list in any significant way?
I think you could put the list in a whole bunch of different orders. And I think that's a testament to what Kwesi did in free agency, like Luke said. So yeah, I'm not going to have any problem with like the list of priorities. I think a way to look at it too is, okay, there are a lot of, like, if they had to play a game tomorrow, a lot of these positions are no longer concerns in the way that they were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But
a
lot of those guys are old or on short-term deals. Those are still draft needs, like defensive tackle, even though they signed Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, both those guys over 30, those are still and deals that you could get out of in a couple of years if somebody does like turn it around. So taking your favorite D tackle at 24, still 100% an option, and just call it the offseason where you address that really hard.
Also, too,
Like
let me play devil's
edge.
advocate too with one thing that you said too. You could, because you brought up a great point. Like, we don't know what Mekhi Blackmon's going to be. We've seen flashes of Theo Jackson, and I, for one, I'm glad they brought him back. I think it was a great idea to be the plan B, knowing full well you're probably going to lose Cam Bynum. But we haven't seen him start 17 games either. Like, do we know for sure that he's going to be able to plug and play? And, like, he was great in that special teams role, that safety 3 in a pinch when he had to come on, made that interception versus the Eagles. He's flashed. He's always had good training camps, it feels like. But we still haven't seen it. You know, we still haven't seen a full-time starter for 17 games, too. And the only reason I bring it up is I brought this guy up as well, but the South Carolina safety, who's getting a ton of buzz as well, Nick Anamori, he probably won't be there either. But, again, it just seems like safeties kind of slide down to those mid-20s kind of spot. Kyle Hamilton and so on and so forth. Yeah. Derwin James, all those guys. Seems like that's kind of the sweet spot for safeties.
It's like not seen as a premium position, which is insane.
Yeah, Jamal Adams was the last one, and, like, he was a bust. It was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. Like, we're not gonna do that.
A linebacker was less. No, Kale Chips mentioned something I was gonna bring up at the top of Sam's list, which I think is that we should think about center as a more priority need, right? Because remember when the Eagles drafted Cam Jurgens when they didn't know if Jason Kelce had 1, 2, 3, or 4 years left in terms of when he was going to retire. We know that Ryan Kelly is probably going to retire in 1 or 2 years, right? And so I think that. And the Vikings traded or cut Garrett Bradbury. They attempted to trade away Garrett Bradbury. So you do need a plan at center. I don't know that there is a first-round center in this year's draft. But
no.
There's no urgency to it.
Yeah, exactly. And Jurgens wasn't the first-round center. So you could, if there's some value somewhere in the drafted center in the second or third round, assuming you manufacture a way to grab those picks, you could grab that guy or wait until next year, hoping that a first or second round guy appears so that you've got some time. But I think that moves up the priority list. So to me, it's like probably cornerback and center. And then after that, I would probably take a look at defensive tackle again. You know, Hargrave is 32, Allen is 30. I think that's something that just makes a ton of sense. And from there, you can figure out like, hey, do we want safety this year, next year? Are there guys that we can draft that? So actually, the draft crush I was going to bring up could potentially be a long-term solution at safety and a short-term solution at corner, which to me is Jahdae Barron from Texas. I know that he played a ton of corner snaps at Texas. He played like 440, something like that, wide corner snaps, and then 150 plus snaps in the slot and 150 plus snaps in the box, and then a couple at high safety, right? So he's somebody that a lot of people have talked about in terms of versatility. We know that, he has played in a variety of coverages, much more zone than man, but he's played in a variety of coverages. We also know that he is a physical player, that he takes pretty good tackling angles, and that he is better in zone than in man, which to me, profiles as somebody who can succeed in a Brian Flores system, assuming that they continue this operation where they zone blitz, which that's not a guarantee. They might be zone blitzing just because of what they're capable of and might change to man coverage. But I think having a guy who's really good at snapping his eyes to the quarterback is not a bad place to be. You've got a guy that can be inside, outside, and in the box. And that kind of versatility is just something that plays well, not just in the Brian Flores defense, but I think whatever successor defense the Vikings are going to run after, Brian Flores eventually does get hired, which I think is probably going to be different, but I think we'll still rely on that element of versatility, right? Is still going to have, some kind of, hey, we've got Eric Rowe or whoever, and we're just going to do whatever the hell Eric Rowe can do, that kind of stuff. And I think that whether it's like Durante Jones or whoever, having a guy that can do all of those roles is just going to be a benefit and can maybe address that long-term issue at safety.
Yeah, I love Jahdae. Absolutely love Jahdae. I'm going to go in a different direction for my draft crush because I don't want Inman to steal him from me because he mentioned him already. Nick Amenwari looks like an absolute baller at safety. Kuiper has him going 18.
Certainly tested well.
He is a perfect RAS score. He is a 10 out of 10.
Is it really a whole 10? Wow.
RAS. Yeah.
Well, you know how I feel about RAS.
Yeah.
Tell us
he's a freak though. Physical freak for sure.
6'3",
Sam, I wrote a whole article about how I feel. I thought you read my work. It's really disappointing, Sam.
I apologize deeply. You can tell my contrition.
Apologies.
Yeah. No, RAS is directionally quite good. I think that it makes a lot of mistakes at the fringes and over-exaggerates small differences in the middle, under-exaggerates big differences at the top. It doesn't adjust for what matters at what position, and whatever. But it's directionally quite good. I mean, this is a guy who's a freak at 6'3", 32.5-inch arms. He's going to have a high athleticism score. He tested well in everything but the agilities, which he didn't do, which is important at safety, by the way. I just want to point out that the agilities have a correlation to performance at safety, much more than the 40-yard dash. But he was going to test well in almost any testing setting if you ignored the agility thing. And having an athletic freak is great. I just don't want a Taylor Mays situation.
Taylor Mays, what a name drop. Wow.
Former Viking great.
Oh, wow.
That guy should not have done the agilities at the combine.
43-inch vert, by the way, for Nick.
Nuts.
43-inch vert.
Absolutely
Yeah,
nuts.
4.38 at 6'3", 220, and he's going to be 21 for the entirety of the season. Tackles well. Ball hawk.
Yeah, Lance Zierlein compared him to Jeremy Chin, notably a linebacker, but still, what a great player to grab.
Yeah. Inman, would you back me up on this? Nick Amenwari would be pretty intriguing for the Vikes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the national hype, going through the mocks and reading the Daniel Jeremiahs and Kuipers and McShay, all that. I don't know if he's going to be there, to be honest. I mean, he's got a lot of hype. Again, safety sweet spot. Typically, you don't see these guys drafted in the top 10, and I don't think anybody's discussing him in the top 10. But all the way at 24, I could see him getting sniped right before them. But yeah, I think, to Arif's point, the agility stuff, you still got to be a little, not concerned is the word. I mean, the film's great. The film's really good as well. But also, I think there's just going to be some PTSD if we just take a safety at the end of round one as well. But again, I think they do have a need there for sure. And I think he'd give you some versatility as a safety in the box linebacker. He's just very talented. He's just a ball of clay. He's just ultra talented, ultra athletic. If Brian Flores at the end of the day takes a guy in the first round, ultimately, just like Dallas Turner last year, I have confidence. He's got a plan. And I'm sure at the end of the day, he knows what he's going to do. And I don't think he's going to be there again, but if he's there, it would be really intriguing if Booker and him were there, what route they would go, because I feel like that would kind of dictate just kind of the blueprint they have in their head, Sam, as far as not just winning this year, but kind of their mentality moving forward in years 2, 3, and 4, because he's a little bit more of a project. Like I said, Booker, ready to win now? Are we going for a Super Bowl run now? Then let's get a more of a plug-and-play guy with our only pick, again, in the top 90. I looked it up. Vikings do have the least amount of picks of any team.
Vikings trade partners. I'm eyeing up Seattle now. They've got an extra second, extra third, and an extra fifth. Buffalo has an extra second, no third. Chicago has an extra second, but they're in the division.
Who would Seattle want to trade up for?
I don't know. You tell me. Don't people just automatically trade up to get your pick?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Jackson Dart.
Oh God.
Darnold's
that would be.
I mean, usually you do start with quarterbacks as much as we're joking around.
I mean,
usually
they're having a nightmare offseason
with a quarterback here, and Jackson Dart, not worthy of any type of top 10 pick whatsoever. Gonna get overdrafted probably no matter what. But if there's a quarterback needy team, if Rodgers flakes on the Steelers, I would hate this if I was a Steelers fan, because it just feels like Kenny Pickett all over again. But not comparing them as prospects per se, but just the situation. We're forced to take a quarterback that maybe isn't worthy of a first-round pick, but we just got to get a guy in our building anyways and hope he pans out kind of situation. But you do start with quarterbacks, and Jackson Dart would be the guy that I think teams would start to look at to trade up at the end of round one.
We have another imminent need that we haven't talked about at all. CJ Ham's contract expires next year. And let me tell you, there's a fullback in this draft named JJ Pegues. I'm dead serious about this guy.
Sam has 300. No clue what this bid is right now.
No, I'm serious. He's a D tackle, 310-pound defensive tackle that can also play out to the edge, move all around the line.
No, I saw this dude. I saw this dude play against Florida. He's awesome.
Played next to Walter Nolan, right? I think he has enough of the speed to do stunts and stuff where he'll work in a Flores thing. mostly been a day 3 guy for people, but the fullback thing is real. He did a bunch of short yardage carries for Ole Miss, and they like had him do fullback drills at the combine. Like teams are actually like looking into this.
Good at them.
He was good
at the fullback drills.
He scored 7 times. I mean, he was the goal line back.
Is it Pegues? My bad, PHT. Pegues. Yeah, that is. So I think he would kind of be your. It'd be like taking a Jaquelin Roy kind of, and you want him to eventually take over for the young guy, but there's no pressure on it. Not like the concern would be you don't want to like have a Lewis Cine and there's pressure on this, and then Harrison Smith is still on the team and Lewis Cine isn't, and you just sort of like pissed one away for the guy like we really assume is going to retire, and then he just doesn't, and then you're like, well, now we've kind of we've been inefficient here.
He not only did he have seven rushing
back,
touchdowns, he had like 8 catches for like 60 yards. So maybe he's got some hands on him too. Maybe it's just a fullback / tight end. I know he did some tight end drills as well. I didn't see. I don't know how he looked. But
it feels like the most Bears move of all time. But
it does.
Shoot, let's do it. I like as a D lineman, I like him as a player.
Crazy Ophelia. Yeah, you got
it. But yeah, like the fullback thing would be a very fun little side story.
He had 7 catches in his freshman year for Auburn, Luke. That's where the 7 catches came in.
Okay.
I wonder if he was playing.
Yeah, at what position, I wonder.
Yeah.
He played running back in high school, if I remember correctly.
They viewed him maybe more offensively.
Oh, no, this is a Dan Campbell move. That's what it is.
It is a Dan Campbell.
Oh, my God, this guy's going to convert a 3rd and 6 on us in a pivotal moment.
No.
And we're all going to tear our eyeballs out.
Stop.
I can't handle good Sione Vaki. That's bad.
Make it the offseason of the trenches, baby.
We've gotten everybody's draft crush. I think we still need Inman's, though. I think Inman's still got to dial one in.
I mentioned deep class of cornerbacks. We talked about at 24. Obviously, cornerback makes a ton of sense too. Just another guy I kind of I'm warming up to. I kind of want to highlight. I know I started this whole thing with the Notre Dame kid, Benjamin Morrison. I know I mentioned the Cal kid, Noel Williams, Quincy Riley from Louisville, though. I'm starting to heat up on a little bit. I don't know the range. I mean, he's got to be in everybody's top 10 cornerbacks, but I haven't seen him like anybody's top 3 or 4 cornerbacks. So maybe like round 3 range with that comp pick. He's a ball magnet, dude. They don't need to always be interceptions in college. I just like guys who can get their hands on the ball consistently, break up passes consistently. That typically is a trait that can translate to the next level. Mike Zimmer always used to talk about that. But this guy had 15 career picks. Started at Middle Tennessee, went to Louisville. Great athlete, could have went D1 in basketball. He was a track star in high school. I was actually surprised he didn't run a little bit better at the combine. He still put up a sub 4.5. I think it was a 4.48, but I honestly thought it'd be a little bit faster. 5'11", 194. Not your big, tall, lanky dude, but not small by any means either for corner. And he just plays, you watch him on film, with a lot of confidence, a lot of patience when the ball's in the air. He's 23 now. He's going to be 24 come week 1. But that just means he's got a lot of reps under his belt. He's played a lot of football. Okay,
he's experienced. Don't worry about it.
He's experienced. Okay, no, you can just see though he's just very, very calm and confident on film and when that ball's in the air. And he was a big winner too. He flashed a lot down the Senior Bowl from what I remember as well. Second lowest passer rating in single coverage in the FBS for all corners since 2014, I want to say, behind only Sauce Gardner. Don't remember the passer rating, but it was something ridiculous. Stupid low, like 30 passer ratings. I just think if you put all those things together, 15 picks, great ball skills, a lot of reps, plays confidence, smooth athlete, comfortable out there on an island for Flores in that man defense. I just think he's got some good potential as a day 2 kind of guy. Get that cornerback. Maybe you go Tyler Booker or a Kenneth Grant in round 1. Still got to get a corner somewhere in here. Hopefully, if you don't take him in the first round, it's with your next pick. So maybe in that 3rd round-ish area. Again, these are all projections. You have no idea where some of these guys are going to go. And this year specifically feels like it's a little bit tougher to kind of project where some of these like day 2, day 3 guys are kind of going to go. But Quincy Riley, cornerback Louisville, starting to warm up on him a little bit.
When we return, we're going to rank our highest impact free agents the Vikings brought in next on the Minnesota Football Party. This episode's brought to you by Monarch Money. I literally did this about 1 hour ago, drinking some coffee. I sat down with my Monarch Money app, and I categorized my transactions for the past couple of weeks. It's super easy. It's super convenient. It helps you see where your money is being spent, gives you full visibility and control over your finances. It's Monarch Money. It's not just a budgeting app. It is a financial command center. You track your accounts, your investments, your spending, you categorize them, put them in the various buckets, and you can find out how much you spent on Taco Bell in a given month. Stop just managing your money. Start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. I use it. I love it. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. We're also presented today by FanDuel. March Madness is here. We are 2 rounds in. I'll give you the update on our Moneyline contest after this break. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in the action like never before. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters like Maryland had last night to Cinderella stories. I mean, who is the best Cinderella story right now? I'm not even sure in March Madness. I like to bet the underdogs. I was talking about that for weeks. Not a great year for that. Didn't necessarily work out for me that well. That's okay. We still got 4 rounds to go in this bracket. Visit FanDuel.com. Get in the college hoops action all tournament long. FanDuel.com. Bet 5. Get 200 at FanDuel. All right, welcome back. Arkansas. I guess Arkansas would be the so-called Cinderella, the 10 seed knocking out
that one
St.
hurt
John's.
me. Yeah, that hurt my bracket.
There comes my Patino, right?
St. John, both Patinos lost over the weekend, Rick and Richard. St. John's couldn't shoot at all, which is curious. They were 31-4.
Yeah,
they were like 320th in shooting percentage this year. But money
You
line
guys didn't have St. John's losing in the second round?
Oh my God.
No, Mike.
Oh my God.
No,
I had them
Mike.
losing to Kansas, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I had Kansas going decently far.
Ouch.
Well, that means you did have them losing in the second round.
Yeah, I'm sick of your.
He just doesn't want to admit it, though.
I don't
so
like
let's
those.
Oh, you get out of last place one time.
Let's knock Braun down.
Suddenly everyone wants to
bring
put
him
you
back
down.
To earth. Bring him back to earth here in our money line
I'm like
contest.
in our group of 4. I think I'm second, and I'm still sour about all of this.
Well, who's winning the bracket contest?
It's your
Braun's
dad.
father.
My father is
Michael.
winning the bracket contest with flying colors.
And again,
Crushing.
your real dad, not Luke Braun's dad.
Yeah, not the
true.
Twitter account.
Gotta clarify.
If only
Yeah.
his betting prowess would have passed down hereditarily to you.
Get those genes,
we
huh?
ended up.
Didn't.
Don't go to Vegas with us. We did end up watching Florida sweat it out because we both have Florida winning. We were watching.
That was a
We were
sweat.
sweating Florida together right at the end there.
I had UConn. That hurt. I had Dan Hurley.
UConn over Florida, huh? If you would have won that, if you
reasonable
would've
pick.
snuck that out, that would have been huge for you.
You gotta make.
I was
bold
feeling regret all morning.
Good. I want you to hold on to that feeling.
Well, they won, so I'm not.
Hold on to that feeling.
We each took 5 money lines last Thursday, and I think the lesson here is that we should have. If anyone had just taken heavy favorites, they would be doing great in this contest. Inman made $57. He went 4 out of 5. He took Tennessee, St. John's, Michigan, Colorado State, won all 4, lost on Xavier.
Also, I didn't take North Carolina. Who
No.
took North Carolina in here? I guess we'll get to that.
No one. No one did. No one took UNC. They dodged that bullet. Arif took San Diego, VCU, lost those. He won on Ole Miss.
So
Texas Tech,
close
and
on
Kentucky.
San Diego, man. That game was outstanding.
that was a good game.
Jeez.
Really good. Really good. I had New Mexico winner and Maryland winner. Lost on Utah State, Omaha, and Yale. And
dude.
Luke Braun got Houston at minus 100,000, a bold pick, a very bold pick. Also got Iowa State. So in total, he made $6.35 on those 2 bets. He's in last place. He lost about $300 total.
So I'm
I just didn't want to
second
go
last
over,
or-
and I didn't, so I'm happy.
Am I second to last or second to first, Sam?
You are second to first.
Okay. Luke Inman, the best of us.
Hey, Arif, it feels good being up here, doesn't it? Feels good. I can barely see those guys down there. What'd they say? What'd they say? Feels good. Welcome to the club, buddy. Feels good. Bottle this. Harness this feeling. Bottle it.
I feel like that's probably what you said the first time you got like the top bunk in a bunk bed situation. Wow, look at those tiny people down there.
5th grade
6-year-old Inman and summer camp.
Salute
Let's
your
rank
shorts.
stuff.
Yeah.
This is Minnesota Sports Rankum, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
I want a top 5. Top 5 outside free agents the Vikings brought in. Your ranking by impact in 2025. Luke Braun, go first.
Impact in 2025, and you just wanted outside free agents.
Okay. Aaron Jones doesn't count. Byron Murphy doesn't count.
Okay. There's
like 7 free agents. What are we doing at top 5? Okay, that's fine.
For me, the top then would be Will Fries. 5-year deal. Immediate upgrade at guard. Dude is an absolute ass kicker. Absolutely love it. I think that will genuinely be able to change the texture of the O-line, but part of that is because it comes with Ryan Kelly, prepackaged chemistry. Say it, Luke. So that's my 1 and 2. Number 3 for me was Jonathan Allen. And then I get a little spicy. I got Isaiah Rodgers 4th. I think he's going to start, and I actually think he could be kind of good.
You love those low sample guys, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not scared of that. And then Javon Hargrave was 5th for me.
Wow.
You don't play scared. You don't follow up, right? You don't play scared.
I have the exact same top
Pick
3.
out of Chris to go to the Sweet 16.
I got the same top 3. I put Jordan Mason in there. I know technically wasn't a free agent, so I'm bending the rules there a little bit. But I got Jordan Mason at 4, and then I got Hargrave at 5 as well. Interior pressure, man. We've always had edge rushers, right? Hunter, Pat Jones, DJ Wanham, Gink, Grenard, Dallas Turner. Got those in spades. Having guys that actually excel at interior pressure like Hargrave and Jonathan Allen obviously as well. I just feel like that's going to do some wonders for this defense. But I snuck in Jordan Mason on my list, number 4.
Just need Hargrave to never get doubled, which shouldn't be an issue.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think you guys are way too low on Hargrave. I have Hargrave number 1.
Wow.
I've got Hargrave number 1 too. I don't think that's weird. That makes
Woohoo.
sense.
Good. Good. I
just saw too much. I just saw Garrett Bradbury do violence to that guy in week 2, and I got a temper.
His body knew there was an injury coming. It was like preparing for the injury. It's
just he can't take on a double. That's a ding for me. But thankfully, there's Harrison Phillips and Jonathan Allen next to him.
Phillips there. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Putting him next to
he's insulated. He's insulated. He's got support. I think Hargrave has.
Remember Hargrave next to Cam Hayward? That's the Hargrave.
Yeah, he was like the key double team guy on that San Francisco defense, which was a terrible idea, and that's not his fault.
Well, what are they going to have Javon Kinlaw do it? Come on.
Right, like they didn't have a guy like Harrison Phillips, which I feel like most teams do, but
I
don't know, man.
Javon Kinlaw's deal with Washington. Anyway. Sorry, Sam, did you finish your top 5?
Hargrave, Fries, number 2, Jonathan Allen, number 3, spicy number 4, Rondale Moore is going to do like 2 awesome things per game, and he's going to be Jameson Williams light. That's
you think a guy with 2 targets per game is more impactful than Ryan Kelly?
Well, Ryan Kelly's number 5, but Rondale Moore is.
I'm not sure Rondale Moore makes the team.
Is there a big gap between your 4 and 5, or is it like
Rondale Moore screams waived injured on August 8th to me?
Yeah. You saying Ryan Kelly is ranked 5 doesn't change because 4 is still ranked higher than 5. My sentence is
hey, super fun show if we all just go chalk and just have the same 5.
Fun, dude.
Yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
you know what? I love being on islands.
You're
I
the
love
one
it. I
who
embrace
chose
it.
a list of
I
the
am-
top
Yeah.
5
Strand
of our
me on
7
the
free
Rondale
agents.
Moore Island,
Dude,
I had a
next
hot
to
take the
Russell
other way.
Wilson,
And no
right next to
food.
Russell Wilson on your island. Who else is on your island over there?
Sam,
I want you to pick a quarterback at this year's draft and just stake a claim on it. And I know you want to.
JC, I'm still waiting for JC Treader too.
Hendon Hooker, baby.
Here we go.
2 out of 4 members of this show caped real hard.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, we haven't seen him
Hendon
yet.
lost
We
a
don't know
job
yet.
to Teddy Bridgewater coming off a state championship. Hooker.
Well, that was like a. That was
Hey, man.
like a. You know.
28 years old in a fake offense. How could we be wrong?
Sam, so I misunderstood the assignment. I ranked every free agent, and I just want to tell you I had Rondale Moore underneath Tevier Thomas.
Wow,
I'm a big Tevier Thomas guy too.
Yeah.
Of course you
No,
are.
that
Is this
fun.
like a Jordan Addison's going to get traded, so Rondale becomes the Jamison Williams of the offense kind of thing?
Well,
or,
Jordan Addison is going to get.
or do you just
suspended,
not want me to?
right?
talk
I just
about
don't
it?
trust the
Do you
knee.
just want me
That's
to gloss
literally
over
the
it
whole
and
thing
just-
for me.
Okay, it's
is-
injury related because
Yeah, for me, it's 100% injury related.
his
Yeah.
yak potential is insane. Like if the knee heals, which is a big if, this is probably there are going to be 2 guys that they're counting on to like heal well that won't heal well.
Right.
And
I mean,
this is
they
the gamble that Kwesi's taking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's the gamble that they typically take. So yes, my list obviously it's very similar to Sam's. Javon Hargrave, Wolf Rise, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly. I think did you have Jonathan Allen ranked higher than Javon Hargrave, Luke Braun?
Yes.
I understand like where that comes from because Allen can do more things across the defensive line, but I just don't think I think Hargrave showed more explosiveness at 31 years old than Jonathan Allen did at 29. And I think that Allen is aging more, if that makes sense. And
It
so I
does.
think
Who
we're
do you
gonna get
think's
a little
coming
bit-
off the field on nickel packages when you're 4 down? Which one of those 3 between those 2 and Harrison Phillips?
I think because everyone is old, it's going to be like a hockey rotation, right? I don't think we're going to have like an actual like sub package for defensive linemen that's like set in stone or anything like that. I think Hargrave will get more passing down snaps than Jonathan Allen overall by the end of the season. That's just what I think based off of like what I've seen from the 2 of them.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Allen is the one that plays. I mean, and maybe agent fatigue is a thing. If that becomes a thing, then sure. But I honestly think Hargrave and Phillips would rotate around. Like, if you're in an obvious pass or obvious run situation, like one of those guys comes off, and then you have Jonathan Allen on for all of it. That feels like where it ends up to me. Obviously,
I don't see
you got to see it
Allen,
all.
like-
But
Yeah, and we're just speculating. I just don't see Jonathan Allen playing more than, and obviously 700 would be a ton of snaps for a bunch of defensive tackles. That's fair, but I don't think any of these guys are playing more than 700 snaps, right? And so I think it's going to be rotations for all of them. And I think that on the plays that we're going to see Hargrave on, I think we're just going to get a little bit more impact. Obviously, I like both signings, so it's not
interesting conversation though, because you think about obvious passing downs too. I mean, how many times are we going to see all 3 edge rushers on the field at the same time as well?
Oh man,
I mean,
right, yeah,
Just
yeah.
a lot of options.
No, Harrison
There's
Phillips
just a
only
lot of
played
options out
60%
there.
of the snaps. I envision him as more of an every down player, but yeah, probably came
then-
off on passing downs kind of guy. Well, you're right, because they went like NASCAR the whole time. This is the whole problem.
yeah. And then I went Ryan Kelly after that. I mean, there's a lot of guys here with like big names. I think Will Fries is more an exception, even though he was highly rated coming into free agency. Ryan Kelly is maybe the best example of a guy where the name has a little bit more value than the player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's a big upgrade over Garrett Bradbury, but he's not going to play up to the level that he's played at in the past unless we're very lucky.
the Pro Bowl Ryan
yeah.
Kelly from
Pro Bowl
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly would be a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Although
would
sometimes that
love
is
to be
just
wrong about
nobody
that.
watches the centers, so the guy whose name you recognize gets it. Like, I would not be surprised if he like got an Anthony Barr one.
Yeah. Wow.
Remember that? Like the year, it was a year where Anthony Barr was like clearly old and like turbo cooked.
No,
he
yeah.
got the Pro
I
Bowl.
mean, look, wait, that was my argument about
Or
Chad
the
Greenway.
Packers Jeff Saturday one.
Yeah, the Packers Jeff Saturday one is the most egregious one, period. But no, that was my argument because he got like benched that year too. That was my argument about Chad Greenway. He made a Pro Bowl a year late because he had an outstanding season. I think, what was it, 2010?
It's always
Didn't
a
make
year
the
late.
Pro Bowl. It was an insane year. 2011, he fell off dramatically and made the Pro Bowl. These things happen. Anyway, my number 5, I couldn't decide between Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah, and I just decided to go with the one that actually had good snaps, Isaiah Rodgers. But I think it's a list of 4 for me, really.
Yeah, Jeff Okudah is another not necessarily on the 53 guy for me.
Yeah,
I think that guy's got to earn his job, and
there's just like not a lot of guys he's competing with at the moment. Hopefully there are.
Right now, and if you add a corner to this, the pressure gets harder. But right now, if you lay it all out, you can keep one of Jeff Okudah and Dwight McGlothern, and I think that's genuinely a competition.
No, it is. I don't think that's a weird exaggeration. This is Okudah's 4th team.
Yeah.
Yep. Houston, Atlanta, Detroit, Minnesota. James is correct. The most egregious Pro Bowl nod, Xavier Rhodes in 2019.
Oh, Cooks, 2019 Rhodes.
that one's good. That one's good.
Yeah.
Rhodes was about as cooked as a Cybertruck on a selling lot. James Kudo
Buddy.
coming in. One would say hot.
Oh, boy.
Alexander asks, what is the next Kwesi move? Segue into, is it Ryan Tannehill? Is it Ryan Tannehill, who the Vikings are exploring, according to Jordan Schultz? Ryan Tannehill did not play in 2024. He went 3-5 with like 4 TDs, 7 picks in 2023 when he was phasing out of Tennessee. It's like 4 years removed from a really good season. 36 years old. I don't think there's a quarterback where I would say, if it's a veteran who has started before, I'm probably going to lean on the following. The roster's loaded. The coach is great. It's probably going to be fine. And that's where I would stand with Ryan Tannehill.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because he like vocally didn't want to be a mentor to Will Levis. He like said that on the podium, and guys coming for my job, and he's like, I'm going to be the starting quarterback. Like, shut up about this. So I kind of get it. But then he went on Diana Rossini's podcast last year before when it was camp, and he still hadn't signed. And they were like, so do you want to be a backup? And he's like, I'm waiting for the right situation. I think he was waiting for someone's quarterback to get hurt so that they call him off the couch. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a signing and is rather just, all right, keep your phone on, buddy, but we're not going to give you money till we have to.
I think that makes the most sense. I mean, it very much sounds like he only wants to be put into a position where he's going to start, where he's got a very good chance of starting and not a true competition. And which is why he didn't play last year, I think. And good so... change. Obviously those things.
You spend a year on the couch, that might be. You might get a little. Maybe I want to be back and be a part of it again.
You get the itch. Yeah. Watching Scott Hansen in the Octo Box, like, get me in there.
You start
itch.
getting so bored. You start running the old wide receiver drills that you had was freshman at
Texas A&M, baby.
We'll be out there. Coach,
the routes have your kid throwing it to you.
Yeah, right.
No, he spent the whole season like spearfishing in the Bahamas.
Snap that off.
Killing.
But yeah, I don't think that this is a likely veteran backup option, but I wouldn't hate it if that happened, and I don't think that it's completely off the table that Tannehill might have changed his mind about kind of what his opportunities might be. So, I know that there are some people that have like responded to these reports by suggesting that the Vikings are still looking for a starter and don't trust JJ McCarthy. And I feel like once you get to that point where it's a guy who hasn't even played for a year, is your proof. You're really
at that point, you're just an Ohio State fan. Like, we see you.
I get it.
Yeah, you cannot look me in the eye and say that the Vikings' interest in Ryan Tannehill is because they want him to start. Please go home.
Left on Landon says sign Teddy Bridgewater. Obviously, sure. I would be a huge fan of that. That was my number 1 free agent, I think, from the last show. So,
I think that Tannehill would be better than Flacco and probably like worse than Kirk, but probably somewhere in the middle. I still don't know what the play is with Kirk Cousins. What's the plot? Is Atlanta waiting for someone to tear a knee? Because at that point,
I think so.
But at that point, that's where you sign a Tannehill. That's where you sign a Rodgers or a Wilson. Like, those are the quarterbacks that are going to be waiting.
Tannehill hasn't played in a year. Kirk technically has.
I'm.
There are
I'm not
contract
so sure teams
reasons.
Give up something though.
There are contract reasons for the Falcons to wait till after June 1st for that. The money works different for them, and it might be easier to offload that contract. Plus, I think Kirk might want to wait till after the draft to make sure he doesn't get tricked again into playing for a team that drafts a rookie behind him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a really good thought.
They did do him dirty, and it's hard to feel a ton of sympathy for it, but they did essentially lie to him. So
yeah, but like we can at least project that like if he has the no trade, he's going to be like, yeah, you're not doing anything until the draft, then I'm demanding a trade. So good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Joel asked about a Kirk Cousins foot in mouth moment. He's on quarterback again. The foot in mouth moment is coming.
He is.
In however many months. It is going to happen. Yes.
I don't think the one, Joel, that you typed out about that he would wait till after the draft to decide is a foot in mouth moment. I think that's just a reasonable strategy.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's coming. It's for sure coming. Who else was on it? It was Kirk, it was Goff, and who was the third one? On quarterback. Kirk, Goff, Kirk.
It doesn't matter. All that matters is that this
Allen?
gives me another reason to write Netflix off on my taxes.
Joe
Burrow. So we've got
all right.
Wow, Kirk's the Marcus Mariota of this one.
Yeah. Like in so many ways.
How the turntables.
It's crazy how Mahomes' production company can identify the Marcus Mariota at the beginning of the season. That's really like should be in scouting.
So if I see Omaha Productions cameras in Minnesota, are we panicking?
All right. Was browsing FanDuel and noticed the following. The Lions are favored to win the NFC North, deservedly. Packers number 2. All right. Bears number 3. Vikings are dead last at plus 550. I think that's a great bet to make. That's an excellent value bet to make because you're telling me the Bears are going to finish higher than the Vikings. I'm not sold on the Packers either, to be honest with you. The Packers, I think, got diminished in free agency without adding a lot.
What are you talking about? They added Aaron Banks.
Is this, just to clarify, is this a bet to you're betting on what place they will get or just to win the division?
No, to win the division.
Likelihood to win the division.
You know, when you say
that's a tough bet for me because it's tough to get by Detroit, but yeah.
Well, also, I'm just for this argument's sake, though, I'm just thinking, when you say they're dead last, I mean, the Bears and Vikes are pretty much the exact same odds. It's pretty much splitting hairs. And by week 1, the Vikes could be at 3.
I wonder if that's a good point.
Right? Isn't it 5 to 1 versus 5.5 to 1? So, I mean, they're pretty much 3.
You're right.
They're the Lions
saying that
head
they're on
and shoulders with the bullet.
Even playing field? Like that's really... It's
I understand that.
I agree with you, Sam. I just think it's kind of interesting. Like, what if you had odds for who would place last? I don't think the Vikings would be at the top of those odds.
Which will come up soon.
Right. I think
those will happen.
Right.
Vikings also have better Super Bowl odds than the Bears, plus 3,500 to plus 3,700.
Right. Yeah. So
it's
I think it's just like the Bears are just very, first or last or whatever. And so I think that the Bears probably have better odds to finish last in the division.
Well, and these also change. These also change based off, the public's betting too. And
right,
there's
it's
just
how
a
people
lot
are
of hype around. There's a lot of hype around. Second year, Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. 3 offensive
the Bears are getting their off-season championship bump.
Yeah, this is their Super Bowl right now.
Here's what's wild:
third consecutive April Lombardi.
No one likes the trenches.
Yeah.
Sam, did you notice?
Better offseason.
Did you notice what the odds were before, like during all the Aaron Rodgers stuff? The Vikings were plus 450 to win the division. The second Tom Pelissero said they're moving on from Rodgers, plus 550, which is
that's so
bizarre. It's so silly because last year a similar thing happened when JJ McCarthy got hurt. So is JJ good for the Vikings or not?
Well, I think it's so stupid. It's so silly. You're right. But like quarterback drives everything with this stuff. It's the first thing it revolves around.
Do you want him starting or not?
But yeah,
he's starting. It's bad for the Vikings. If he's not starting, it's bad for the Vikings. I'm starting to think a whole bunch of people just hate Michigan.
That
tracks.
Except Rich Eisen, but yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. It's just more the unknown, though, with McCarthy. Like, the fact that nobody's seen it.
Sure.
He hasn't proved anything yet. And a lot of times for these people, seeing is believing for a lot of folks. And even though Jordan Love isn't Joe Burrow or Mahomes, people have seen him at least put up, hey, he can put up 4,000 yards. He can go win a playoff game, And Nobody's seen JJ yet. So I think, even though I don't agree with it, I agree it's silly. I think that's the reason why these odds are the way they were.
It's so silly because if you look at the Bears, then Caleb Williams has shown way more negatives than positive, and yet he still gets all the draft hype.
Right.
But this guy that went 10th, that the Vikings took 10th overall, I think they might be getting Tannehill in to replace him.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge underestimation of what KOC has accomplished in the regular season. This is not a postseason bet. This is a regular season bet. And when he's had the starting quarterback that he planned to have, he's like 30-10.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were plus 1,000 to win the division last year. So, the betting odds think they're about twice as good.
Man, that's
Great.
crazy. Wow. Forgot about that. That's crazy.
They had a win total of 6.5. I'm very curious to see what the win total will be. I think it's going to be a clean 8.5 because nobody knows what to do with
it
the
would be very
Vikings.
funny if when we see these win totals, the Vikings have a higher win total than the Bears, despite the way
despite being lower in the division.
It might just be people are
fine.
hammering the Bears because of offseason hype.
I think it's that. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. Nobody's seen JJ yet. Bears just won their Super Bowl offseason again, third year in a row, right? But like just in general, history shows people are going, well, JJ McCarthy, he's going to be a technical first-year starter, and first-year starters typically struggle. I mean, a lot of the best quarterbacks of all time were terrible their first year, but they never had, to your point, Sam, they never had KOC. They never had I was drafted third overall. That means I went to a crappy team with a crappy, supporting cast and a bad coach, perhaps, that was going to get fired the next year. This dude has KOC and a king's ransom of supporting talent, too. So, it's a little bit different, I would say.
Do you guys can, I don't know if you've seen this. Do you think you can run the table predicting division winners based on FanDuel odds?
Oh, like guessing who's
first? Can you
first?
guess the 8? The 7 besides Detroit.
Oh,
wait, as in like who FanDuel has?
The NFC South is going to be a little tricky. There's like two that are going to be a
South
little
should be the
tricky.
Bucks, I think.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
let's start with East. Just start with AFC East.
Philly.
AFC
East.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Oh,
no, Philly. I think Philly's
Philly.
They
Philly
moved.
wins the AFC
They
East.
moved.
Yeah, Buffalo's easy.
That's got to be
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Correct. AFC North.
Ooh, Ravens?
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm giving it
let's go
Ravens.
because it's either the Bengals
just
or the
all-
Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Because it can't, unless the betting market's really excited about the Aaron Rodgers Steelers. I don't.
That's funny.
Or are they giving it to the Bengals because they finally got other guys locked
No,
up?
their defense is trash.
their
Yeah,
defense
I don't
is
know.
trash.
The
It's
Bengals'
gotta be the
protection
Ravens.
is, I think, going to be a concern forever until they explicitly address it.
And the Browns don't exist. Baltimore.
Yeah, as is Ravens.
Correct. AFC South.
I think the
Houston.
Texans come
yeah,
back.
Houston, I
that
guess.
one's
Surely.
tough, right?
Houston, I
like,
guess.
Surely Houston.
I don't.
I
think
can't
the
imagine
Jaguars-
Daniel Jones put the Colts over the top.
Well, I can't imagine Liam Cohen
Jags,
put the
new
Jaguars
coach,
over the top, right?
Titans,
so,
number 1 overall
No,
pick.
yeah,
Gotta be
they're
Houston.
in a rebuild again.
yeah, it's got to be the Texans. That
It is the Texans, and I'm surprised it's not by more. The Jaguars and Colts are actually pretty tight.
You just see how much we waffled. What do you mean you're surprised it's not? By
to me,
Hey,
That division's
feel-
always... Yeah, that division's always
yeah.
one game
the Texans
race
are the only
between two teams at the end.
proven
the last
serious
2
team.
weeks. Yeah. Then you got the Chiefs, obviously. Can skip that one.
Chiefs, easy. NFC East,
NFC East, Philly.
Philly.
But Washington's got to be
Surely.
close, kind of.
minus 165 to plus 220. I
Okay.
think
That's not
Philly
bad.
probably
Close.
earned the heavy favorite nod, and I want to say they are.
I
Yeah,
would.
only the
I think
Bills
that's good
are
odds.
heavy.
I would probably take Washington at plus 220. That's
Yeah,
nice.
that's good
That
value.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. And then NFC
This-
South.
So you guys like the Bucks. So it's
I
what?
like
Saints, no.
Not the
Panthers,
Saints,
probably
not the Panthers.
And Falcons.
Falcons are a disaster.
Okay.
Can't be.
Okay.
It can't
yeah,
be
I
the
mean,
Falcons.
the Falcons and the Panthers have what's going to happen with this quarterback? And that's the Bucks have a quarterback. I just feel like it's
the Bucks have won this division for like 5 years running too. Like it's them until it's not.
Yeah,
Someone
they- like,
take
they
it.
Well,
broke-
everybody
Someone
thought once
wake up
Brady
down there.
left,
Jesus
that it was
Christ.
Like
they
somebody
broke
else
the
was going to
streak
win.
of someone else winning that division every freaking year. Like I feel like
They are on a Chiefs-like run in that division. Like somebody wake up.
God, the Chiefs of the NFC South sounds like the worst coffee table book ever.
The NFC South, Baker Mayfield's memoir.
Uh,
If it's the Falcons, I'm
We're
crashing
going
out.
with the Bucks.
It's the Bucks. It's
Okay.
the Bucks by 55.
Okay,
plus
now this
145.
one's tricky, I feel
Yeah.
like.
NFC
Seattle,
West.
San Fran,
That's
the Rams.
tricky.
Because San Fran going in a little bit more of a rebuild, I guess. But
I
they
think
were
San
always the
Fran
favorite
blew
every year
up
the past.
so much. I'm going to go with the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams, yeah.
Oh, man.
Because Seattle,
That
I
did not
think,
feel good.
is viewed, even though, I mean, they got Darnold and they're viewed a little bit as a team like entering a rebuild, and San Francisco is falling apart.
Yeah.
Like the hype around those teams is in the gutter. They are on everybody's like losers of free agency list.
Yeah, and, I think betting markets don't super love Darnold generally, so I think that
we've learned this. Yeah,
Yeah,
the betting market was like 0-6 on the Vikings to begin the year. It took them until like Halloween to catch on. And the Vikings covered the spread. Even in the games they lost, they covered the spread for the first like 7 or 8. Like the betting market just hated the Vikings for the whole first half of the year until they couldn't deny it anymore.
And the Cardinals, we didn't even mention, they'll go 8-8 or something again, right?
Yeah, the Cardinals
so,
will
like,
Cardinal. Yeah.
So this one's got to be the most like top
I'm
to
gonna go with
bottom
the
though.
Rams.
Pretty close, just like the
I'm
NFC
thinking the
North, I
Rams.
would guess.
I wouldn't even be surprised to see the Cardinals in second here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you got, Sam?
Just not the 49ers, man.
49ers.
No way. After
Yeah.
this offseason that they've had?
Still
I was
the
surprised,
49ers.
too.
Shanahan.
I was
On the
surprised,
last
too.
one, we
Shanny
didn't get it.
effect. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? It's
Shanny
actually
We screwed
it's
up our
not-
8-leg parlay.
on the last leg.
On the last leg.
6 for 7.
Where are the
Buc-
Rams?
Didn't round robin it.
So the Bucks and Falcons are actually tighter than the 49ers and Rams. 49ers are plus
Really?
140. Rams are plus 210. Seahawks are plus 470. Not a lot of Darnold respect there.
Yeah. Well, we at least nailed that part.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Darnold, no O-line. The narrative.
Well, they
is
traded
very
DK
clear.
Metcalf.
Yeah, and they don't have
Yeah.
receivers.
Yeah, they're
Their
like
O-line
blowing
was
it up.
terrible last year. Good luck with that. But they got some picks. They got like 3 picks in the top 50.
Feels
so
like
they're
Jackson
gonna-
Smith and Jigba could have like tweeted out that Will Smith gif.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one in the house.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Who we got? Yeah, where'd Lockett go?
Nowhere yet.
Okay,
Minnesota.
Let's go.
Make it happen, Kwesi.
You said that like Joe Biden did at that rally.
Dude, then they'd have. Wait a minute. Then they'd have.
Minnesota.
Then they'd have Lockett and Rondell Moore.
Rain, Rondell
Yeah.
Moore.
Where's
They'd have a
Lockett
who's
gonna
who of
play?
people that dunked on the Vikings in 2021.
Oh man.
Yeah, Vikings wide receiver 3 is already locked with Rondale. Mark my words.
Remember when the Vikings
Hey,
signed
freshman
Tajay
of the year
Sharp
at
after,
Purdue.
If he's
like-
healthy,
Over
if
300
if
yards
he's
his first game ever at Purdue as a freshman.
if he's healthy and camp reports come out, ooh, Rondale Moore looks fast. I'm in it. I'm in there with you. I am so concerned at the knee injury that no details were reported about, and he went on like 4 visits, and they all were like, nah, until he came back to the crappy offer. the Vikings
who
gave
was
him.
there was a run where the Vikings would sign a semi big name wide receiver every year. Who was the Titans'
Like
former
Kendall-
first rounder?
Kendall Wright?
Tajay,
Wright.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was about to say,
not
remember
Tajay
when
Sharp?
the-
Second.
Tajay Sharp.
Yeah, remember
you could throw in
when the
mix,
Vikings
too,
signed like 5th round pick Tajay Sharp because like 2 years prior he went off for like 130 yards against him and then
against
and,
them.
and he
No
just
one
didn't
else.
make the team.
yeah,
Devin Oroshimadu. Like,
Yeah.
Oh
we're
my
sick
god,
of, we're sick of playing you.
he was competing with Emmanuel Arsenault for a spot.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Canada's finest.
Man,
felt
I
great.
remember that Kendall Wright year. Everybody was like 100% sure he was wide receiver 3. Like they finally got their 3 deep. and he
Yeah.
just gets
Former
cut.
first rounder.
And he got cut. Yeah.
Oh, hoops talk. Michael Floyd, the kombucha king.
Floyd.
Michael Floyd.
All right, let's
Coming
just
back
rip them all
home.
out now. Marcus
Green Ball
Robinson,
legend Michael Floyd. Yeah.
Creighton
Hey, don't throw
Durham,
shade on
Travis
God.
Taylor.
Kyle Rudolph's
that was good.
roommate.
That was a good era.
Yeah.
Good era. That's still my favorite piece I've ever written, calculating the amount of kombucha,
Kombucha that you
non-alcoholic
have to-
kombucha Michael Floyd would have had to,
What's
to
the answer? How
consume.
much?
A fish
More than
tank,
his-
a
yeah.
whole fish tank.
Different
in one
sizes of
night.
fish tanks. So what are you talking? 50
Unless
gal?
he did the alcoholic
Different
kombucha,
size.
which defeats the purpose because that would have
Well, yeah, but that,
violated
like,
the terms of
violates
his
the-
rehab.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Got
But well, also at the time the Vikings had kombucha at the facility too, which was like just an
Like-
incredible optical moment for that.
Like he would have had to. That would be like Guinness World Record feat of kombucha.
Well,
I,
he
that-
did
I
it.
feel like
He
I
did
feel
it,
like
though.
that could be a
I
loser
told the
special
officer he
next
did
year to
that.
have like
Yeah.
a fish tank's worth of kombucha on street.
All right, I got one more. Kelly Campbell. That's it. No, I'm out.
Oh, baby.
Kelly Campbell.
Remember Michael Jenkins, first round pick?
Jenkins, first rounder.
Former first round.
He was going to guide Christian Ponder to the promised land, man. And that first Christian Ponder pass that should have been a touchdown against the Packers.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they tried to.
They'll never be Aldrick Robinson.
You don't lose sleep over it, though. No,
never. Right?
Remember that?
They'll never be Aldrick Robinson.
Aldrick Robinson.
Only one.
Yeah.
2 touchdown
only
king
one.
in that crazy LA game.
Wait,
Corn Robinson.
Corn Robinson. He was pretty good.
Who's the Dotson that Ali brought up?
I don't know.
Josh
Doxson. Oh, Josh Doxson. Did he ever get on the team? Did he ever catch it?
Inman's favorite.
He lasted about 8 days.
Dude, I'm still.
I saw a graphic the other day about those 2016 receivers, and Laquan Treadwell has outproduced all but Will Fuller in that first round.
In that
The first round. First round.
Oh, okay. I was like, Michael
Yeah,
Thomas.
yeah. Michael
Thomas.
Yeah.
He hasn't played.
He's second in that first round of wide receivers because the other two are Corey Coleman and Josh Doxson.
Well,
So
I mean, like Treadwell was averaging like 50 yards a game for the Jaguars for like a hot second.
Yeah.
It was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I'll always remember that catch in 2017, that one-hander in the Packers game.
Yep.
Thought, oh my God, he's made it.
We did it.
We should end all of our podcasts this way. This rules.
Just naming dudes.
Yeah.
Name a guy. New segment.
Name a guy.
Remember that Corey Coleman had 18 touchdowns at Baylor? What happened to that guy? He had like a
It's a real
50-inch
offense.
vert, you know?
It's a real offense.
We'll be back on Thursday with this group. We do this live 11 a.m. Mondays and Thursdays. Care 11 crew goes about 9 a.m. on Wednesdays. That's a lot of fun as well. It's all at Locked On Sports Minnesota. Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Find our audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. Thank you, Luke Inman. Thank you, Luke Braun. Thank you, Arif Hasan. And I am Sam Ekstrom. Talk to you next time on the Minnesota Football Party.